Stewart, thanks very much for joining us from Edinburgh. Just give us some insights, if you can, in terms of, I suppose, what the occupiers are looking for in terms of cities, but also how that relates to technology.
Okay, well, I think it's been interesting, obviously, the last 9 or 12 months because it's really brought into focus what technology occupiers require. And CBRE, we're in the fortunate position, being the scale we are, that we're able to gather information from our occupier clients. And we do an annual occupier survey anyway across Europe. And that highlighted this year that technology is becoming more important than ever. Occupiers are saying to us that 58% of them are saying that actually technology is going to be one of the main things for them in terms of their real estate strategies going forward. And touchless technology actually as well. 54% are saying that's become important. Now, whether that stays at that level post-COVID remains to be seen, but I think technology has been coming down the road for a while, and the last 9 or 12 months have really placed a very firm focus on that. For example, I heard recently that one party had talked about being able to change lighting, etc., through their phone sitting in their office. 12 months ago, they were saying, is that really necessary? And now they're saying, actually, being able to do that on my device, that's quite important now.
And that's quite a big change. And how do cities react to that, Stuart?
Well, I think, like any large organization, cities tend to be slow to react. But I think they are seeing now the benefits of moving into that sphere. The ideal city for an occupier is a frictionless one, where there are no differences between the digital platforms being provided by the city, by the landlord, and in the environment or in the estate that they are occupying. So that is what everybody should be aspiring to. And at the moment, we're a long way from that, because buildings themselves, you go in, everybody's got different devices, you've got different networks. We all know, going in to do a presentation or going in to sit in a client's office, very often our technology doesn't tie in with theirs. But we are moving quite quickly down that road now. I think one of the challenges, however, is how do you actually convince landlords in situations of the benefit of spending money on ensuring that the buildings are smarter? Because at the moment, it's quite difficult to quantify the financial benefit of that. So landlords and developers are always saying, well, am I going to get a return on this? And it's not necessarily at this stage quantitative. It's yes, your building might let faster, but it's how you then convince landlords to do that. I think another consequence of what's happened over the last 12 months is we are going to see an increasing move to shorter leases. Tenants will want to commit for less time. They'll want to be more flexible. And I think particularly at the moment, obviously, as people are unsure what their workforce is going to look like, what their patterns of work are going to look like in the future. But I think that flexibility is almost certainly here to stay. So that means that landlords will have to actually work harder to retain their tenants as well. So again, I think that's making them think quite clearly, well, actually, I need to consider not what's just going to let the building tomorrow, but what's going to keep the tenants here over the next 3, 9, 15 years.
A lot of discussion around data. How important is that, do you think, particularly for landlords?
It's very important and of increasing importance. Landlords want the data from a building to understand how efficient that building is. They want to be able to then market that building more effectively to the tenants. So things like air quality, that's become of much more importance now. How space is being used in a building, how lifts are being used, all of that data can be analysed to make the building more efficient. Landlords want to certify their buildings. Tenants, occupiers want to present the space as well as they can to their staff. The extension of a company's brand in terms of their workplace, that is now back on the agenda, because we are not only are companies wanting to attract their staff back to the office post-COVID, but there has been that move now towards the workplace as being not simply somewhere you are 5 days a week, it's somewhere you come in to collaborate. So the way that space is going to be used will change as well. And technologies are going to become even more important, because you won't necessarily have your desk. You'll walk into a building, ideally you'll have your mobile phone will get you access to the building, it'll tell you where there's available space. One of the issues going forward is going to be how companies actually manage a large workforce that's not there 5 days a week. But again, with technology, you can say, I want to be in on a Tuesday. The technology will then put you with any other members of your team that are in on that day. And all of that is going to become of increasing importance.
It's going to be really interesting to see how that side of it develops, Stuart. Thanks very much for joining us.
Not at all.